recorded content is not helping in most of them. If I have a question during my learning process, how easy is it? And right now, people have moved away from learning online. I think that's why we see a lot of recorded content education technology companies have seen a downfall. With huge volume of information available in various education technology platforms, the lack of infrastructure, quality of faculties.
Hi, welcome to Rashmi Conversations. My son is entering his 12th, and me and my husband, we are in a frenzy to, shortlist colleges for him. But what about after college? Um, Placements are 25% of what they used to be about 10 years back. And why is this happening? Is it just AI? The advent of AI, which is making the entry level jobs disappear? Or what is it really? We have with us today a very interesting guest, Mr. Arun Mohan. He's the founder and CEO of HyperLaunch. And he's going to talk to us and take us through the journey of how students actually get jobs today, the reality of the market. So, hi, Arun. Welcome to my show. I'm so glad you're here. I've known you for donkey's years and we're friends. But I don't know a lot about what you do. I do understand you help students and work with colleges and corporates. So tell me a little bit about yourself and tell my guests a little bit about yourself and tell me a little bit about your journey with HyperLaunch.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Rashmi, for having me here today. Um, it's really nice to have this conversation, and I'm sure it's going to help the viewers to get some message that they're looking for. So, I'm the founder and CEO of HyperLaunch. HyperLaunch is an edtech and an upskilling company which works with college graduates who require the skills for them to be corporate ready. Basically, academics subjects, especially when they do graduation, any sort of graduation, I'm talking about whether it's arts and science or engineering, predominantly focuses on a wider area of subjects for them to complete their graduation. But what the corporate really looks for is very specific skills for which the job role that they aspire to become. For example, if you take computer science, any degree with computer science has about 40 to 50 subjects in engineering, where it's fragmented into 30 to 40 hours of each subject, which means that you are a jack of all trades, but you're not master of one. But when you look for being corporate ready, or when corporates are looking for a particular skill set, they look for you to be a master of either one of the 40, 50 subjects that you study, or a group of cluster of subjects that you have to be a master, which academically it's impossible for the college to provide that. So we as an edtech work with colleges and work with college graduates right from their first year and provide this as a parallel track to help them choose their niche and their expertise so that by the end of college graduation they become corporate ready and they become a master of one area which the corporates are looking for. So that's the whole idea of hyperlaunch, and this is the need of the hour. With having so many colleges around, we see that the quality of students are not up to the mark, which is what we hear very often. The reason being that academics focuses more on a wider scale. The university syllabus also is on a wider scale, but we are looking at being an expert in one area, for which institutions now are open to working with edtechs to help the students identify their niche and then become corporate ready. And so they become more hireable.
But Arun, I'm really curious. See, one of the criteria that my husband and I we are looking at when we're trying to shortlist colleges for my son is that which courses in which college are actually are having higher placements. Isn't that the aspiration of the parent and the child when they're applying for a college that my college will help me get placed? Correct.
Correct.
So, what is the gap? What is I understand you say there's a wide range of subjects and all, but why is what is the gap in the educational ecosystem today?
So, like I said,
And should that be where a college education institute should be headed towards?
Correct. So when it comes to placements, today we're talking about a fixed university curriculum which is not drastically changed, or it doesn't change year on year. It takes a while for the university because they have certain guidelines for them to even change a university curriculum. Let's say, for example, today we have um, um, a university curriculum that was followed or changed the last time it was changed in 2020, right? So it's been 5 years, but the technology has not remained the same. In the last 3 years, we have seen so much of difference in terms of advancements in technology, and we see that AI has taken, and in fact, it has changed the way a lot of even small and medium businesses started working, which means they're looking for a particular skill which is not covered as part of the curriculum, university curriculum. So placements are determined by a corporate, and they work with colleges which are trying to keep up with the market, which tier 1 tier 2 colleges are able to do it at a certain space, or big colleges, right? Very famous institutions are able to do this job very easily because they have the reputation, right? But tier 2 tier 3 cities, if you go to tier 3 cities of engineering colleges, the lack of infrastructure, quality of faculties, the faculties should also be in par with what the market is demanding. There should be continuous learning process, and the institution should help them to upskill the faculties also to make sure that they are in par, right? So that's the huge gap, and placements are changing. The requirements are changing every year. So it becomes difficult for colleges in the tier 2 tier 3 cities to catch up with this space, but tier 1 cities are able to. That's why parents choose very carefully the universities and colleges which are in tier 1 cities, which are able to adapt to this fast changing technology. They are able to make those investments, right? They're rich in cash, they are rich in investments, they are able to make their investments because they have their admissions running in full on, right? But there are institutions that are still struggling to cover their entire seats that are being allotted, so which means there's a huge gap. So the quality will deteriorate, and the placements eventually will also deteriorate. So all the parents want to put them in tier 1 colleges, and it becomes a very um, and obviously we are looking at like 200,000 students who are wanting to get into engineering colleges, but they're limited by seats of tier 1 colleges that we're talking about. So hence we see that huge difference.
And as a part of HyperLaunch, do you train teachers as well?
Yes, we have started. We have realized that when we work with institutions today, colleges also realize that their faculties are in need of keeping themselves up and running. And on their own accord, the faculties cannot spend the money, and the institutions have to help them in enabling such training. So we work with institutions, and we also strongly recommend faculties to also get trained in the core training program, right? Especially in the newer technology areas.
Arun, I'm curious. You and me have been talking about entrepreneurship for a while. I know way before you started your this entrepreneurship journey, you were bitten by the entrepreneurship bug. I am also, and so are like 100 million other people. Everybody aspires to be an entrepreneur. Why choose to be an entrepreneur in the edutech space? I mean, after the Byju's debacle and the inflated showcasing of user demand, wasn't it a challenge for you? And how does the investor ecosystem look at, is there skepticism while looking at startups in the edutech space today?
Absolutely. So there are three parts to this, right? First thing is why edtech space. So education has been starting a school right from me and my wife wanted always to start a Montessori school. So I think we had the thing for getting into that education space, and we wanted to start a school, and that was the whole idea. But obviously it requires a lot of infrastructure, and obviously with the technology and moving very fast in edtech was an area which actually worked for me in one of my organizations, where that's when I got exposed to education technology. There are couple of edtechs that have existed in the last 5-10 years who've done very well, and looking at the model and how they help students, was really very inspiring and interesting. And that's when we thought of, I think that's the space that we could get into. And I think it requires a lot of passion, and I think it worked out well for us. That's number one. The second part is looking at Baiju's story, right? So there are two ways to look at it, right? So I do not want to get into the details of the Byju's story, but overall, what has happened is content generation and recorded content was working well, and it worked well. Especially, it really grew exponentially during the lockdown period, right? Since 2020, a lot of people opted for recorded sessions, and and virtual training had their charm, and a lot of people were takers during that period, and it grew exponentially. But what we realize right now is that with huge volume of information available in various education technology platforms today, do we have the students mindset to have the discipline to sit through the entire recorded session without having mentorship, without having a live touch with the teacher, and also have, if I have a question during my learning process, how easy is it? Can I get instant clarification about it, right? All these are various factors which worked during the virtual period time, and right now people have moved away from learning online. So I think that's why we see a lot of recorded content education technology companies have seen a downfall, right? Because people today want a live teacher. They've gone back, even colleges that we work with, there are a lot of people who come with subscriptions of a lot of loaded content for various technology courses, right? But the students, it's less than less than, not even the 2-digit percentage of completion. Let's say there are 1,000 students who enroll for such courses, not even 1 or 2% actually complete the course, which means that a real-time faculty explaining them a concept, especially for primary, early graduates and people who are looking for a job. If you look at graduates to 0 to 5 experience, right? When they are trying to be in the learning process, recorded content is not helping in most of them.
But isn't that contrary to what we are seeing, that the industry is moving towards automation, AI, non-human touch? Is there I mean, I just find, there's a kind of uh, there's a, it's opposites what you are explaining, that people are going back to the basics, and what we are seeing in the market, the narrative on LinkedIn or on any social media platform today. How is the investor community viewing it? Is there skepticism towards, again, towards the edutech
Yes,
ecosystem?
especially when there is a rumor about, when there's a downfall of an edtech, a particular industry, a particular giant who grew exponentially falls down, automatically there is a little bit of investors taking a back seat. But but the thing is, the what really means is the model that we are working on, that working directly with institutions, and it's a hybrid model where we do offline classes. Our trainings happen offline in the college, and some of it, a certain percentage, that we do online. So we have made it so suitable for the institution also to have a flavor of the real time teaching with the students, and a little bit of hybrid, especially when they need real time use cases of industry experts, right? If I want to have an Amazon expert or a Zoho expert to come and explain a concept, right, or explain a real time use scenario, it's a lot easier to have somebody who's working in the industry to take time off and teach the students virtually. So hybrid has to happen. It can't be completely offline, but predominantly the learners are preferring offline, and even institutions are preferring offline, and I think investors do like that idea that there is, it's more like, when the more you work with institutions, I think there's a lot of confidence, and all you need to do is make sure you have the right set of curriculum with you, the content with you, and you also have the right experts who can teach them, right? And you train them and keep them up to the market standards, and I think that's the success, and investors are okay with it. Obviously, there are investors who are not happy with it, but they ask a lot of questions. But I think our model is very different from what the Byju's and the other education technology, which have actually seen a downfall.
I mean, every single day there's a new ad for a new edutech company. It's like a rat race, customer acquisition in this space. How do you maintain your cost efficiency here?
Well, so as much as see, we work with, as I said, we work with institutions, and we work with institutions across Tamil Nadu at the moment. There are about 1,000 odd colleges of arts and science, 1,000 plus, 1,200 plus arts and science colleges, and there are about 550 engineering colleges in Tamil Nadu alone.
But that's also the same target market for every edutech company,
Correct.
right?
Yes, and predominantly, luckily, at least most of my competitors are people who have recorded content and trying to sell the recorded content primarily, and the secondary is the offline classes. But we have reversed it to our favor. So we work with colleges. Our unique selling point is that we are sending the experts to the college, and we have made sure that it's a continuous learning. So we don't go to the college and work only with the final years. We work right from first year. For example, if it's a B engineering or B Tech engineering graduate, we tell them that if you're a computer science graduate, or even electronics and communication, or if you're a mechanical engineer, if you want to get into any of this computer science related streams or EV related streams, now right now I think we are also planning to introduce VLSI, semiconductor, IoT kind of courses. So we're telling them that you should get a flavor of what kind of job options that you have in the market today in the first year of their studies. And then from the second year onwards, they choose one stream and they become an expert for the next 2 years, which means that in the second year and third year, for 4 semesters, they become an expert in the particular area that they have chosen to become. And in the final year, they're ready for placements. So, our model of working with the college is a 4 year process, and we also work with second years also, but we never work only with the final years. A lot of edtechs work with only the final years or pre-final years. So that's the difference. We tell them that the colleges look at us don't look at us as a vendor, look at us as an extended delivery arm, which means that we are also, you're going to see our faculties every single day throughout the semesters. So we start off with fourth year, then third year, then second year, then first years, then again the next semester. So it's a continuous deployment of our resources in the college. The college also feels very safe, and they are also confident with the service that we provide. So it's not about the number of colleges that we work with. We work with one college, or we work with 5 colleges. The quality, we ensure the quality is intact in terms of how we deliver. So it's not about having a wallet share of 25 colleges, 30 colleges. We're looking at growing organically, and we are learning from our mistakes as well, right? Being a 3 year and a half old startup, we learn from our mistakes, and we are getting a hold of this particular model, which is working very well, and colleges are willing to work with us. It's just that we are growing very carefully in this area, and I think that's our core strength.
This whole conversation about students and colleges is one side of the business. What is in it for a corporate? And I mean, if it's okay, if you think you're okay with sharing, until now, what is the percentage of placements through HyperLaunch?
Well, so the two questions. First thing is, what does corporate look for from the students of HyperLaunch? So basically, there are two parts to this. First thing is, when we work with institutions, the predominant problem that an institution faces is that every college has a placement cell. It's got a placement officer, and it's trying, through its placement officer and through its network, it will try to work with a lot of corporates and try to bring them to campus. The problem is not about the job opportunities, it's about the quality of candidates. There are a lot of corporates who come to college campuses, but they don't hire anyone. There are a lot of colleges that I've worked with right now have said that we have got about 6 7 corporates. It doesn't have to be a huge brand, right? It could be even a startup that's looking for like 5 10 developers, right? But they come to the campus because they have some network with the placement officer or with the college management. But when they come there, they find that the quality of candidates are very bad. So we are trying to fix that problem first, which means that the placement is partially our problem, but it's also their problem. So it's not that 100% that Hyperlaunch is a skilling company. We help corporates, we help colleges with the placements, but we do not take 100% guaranteed on us, because it's a job that collaboratively the college and Hyperlaunch have to do it together.
So every student in the college will not be a HyperLaunch student, right?
Every student will be. So when we work with colleges, we work with institution and we take the entire chunk, and we work with the entire students, and they learn from Hyperlaunch. It's not people who are willing, because the students don't pay us. We work with institutions, and institutions do pay us.
Okay.
So we work with institutions. It's an MOU with the institution, and we go deliver for the entire department.
Okay. And do you also help with corporates coming in through your HyperLaunch network?
Yes. So we have a demand team that works with corporates. We sign MOUs with corporates, and we try to assess based on various job descriptions. Their job is to go scout, understand the job description that they look for, especially for freshers. In the recent times, if you look at it, there are a lot of job opening with regard to vibe coding, or ML engineer, or AI engineer, right? And EV engineer. In EV engineer, there are a lot of other sub roles that they have. It could be a production engineer, it could be a battery management engineer. There are various sub roles that we have. So what we do is our team goes and tries to understand these specific job roles, and it does to see whether our curriculum is delivering that area. So that's how we improve our curriculum, and our curriculum is not stagnated, right? It's not that we have a curriculum set and that's what we deploy. So our demand team constantly gives feedback to the delivery and curriculum team that this is the job description that people are looking for, this is the job opportunity that we have, and these are the skill set they're looking for. So we tweak it. We tell the college, we tell them that what, this is what has changed, and this is what we are tweaking, and we are going to add this particular topic to our curriculum, so that they become more hireable. So that's how our team works with the corporates, try to understand them, get requirements, and we also bring corporates to the campus of colleges where we work with.
Again, my question lies with, what is the benefit to a corporate? What is it that, what pain point of a corporate are you?
Okay. So the important pain point, what we are addressing for a corporate is, today, for the last 15, 20 years or so, we have been so used to corporates like the Wipros of the world, Infosys and Cognizant, which hires a lot of freshers in huge volume, and it gives them 6 months time. It's got the investment, it's got a separate learning and development industry, sorry, a department, and that department focuses on training all these students in batches, right? And they deploy them across India. A large organization like Infosys and Wipro and Cognizant can afford to do this. Imagine a startup that's just 2 blocks away from here. They also pay as equal or even more than what Infosys and Cognizant can pay, but they do not have the time and energy. If it's a 20-member team or a 30-member team, they don't have the time and energy to sit and upskill a fresher. So they would like to hire a fresher who's already pre-trained and who speaks the same language, who has the same level of understanding. So it's easy to offload, for a small startup like that, it's easy to offload mundane task at least to these freshers, and it can help them focus on the core technology work that the startup does. So this training benefits more for small and medium sized startups and enterprises. For them, they want people who are pre-trained in certain areas where it's ready to deploy. So they don't have to really spend that money. Rather, they tap that money as a salary and try to attract as much talent as possible.
And you're saying that you're able to do that even in the EV segment. You just spoke about a role called EV
Yes,
engineering.
yes. In fact, right as we
Interesting.
speak, I just got off a meeting, a couple of days ago, with a company that is in Coimbatore. They're starting a new plant for EV. and they're looking at about 150 to 200 various EV roles. It's an EV plant, and they're looking for EV engineers, and we are trying to cater to that as well. But we're working with colleges in and around Coimbatore and trying to work with them, provide them short upskilling courses to make them immediately fit the requirement of. See, they also want to scale immediately, right? So
Hmm.
we're trying to cover that, bridge that gap, and make sure that they get the right skilled engineers for their new plant.
That's really interesting. I never thought of it. I mean, everybody keeps talking about IT and AI, and also, this the a different segment never popped into my head. If right now, today, you were to talk to budding entrepreneurs, and what is it that you would advise them to keep in mind if somebody is actually trying to step into these world of edutech today? What are the pitfalls? What they should keep an eye out for?
Well, I think the first thing is that passion, undoubtedly, obviously, if somebody wants to become an entrepreneur, they will have that passion and drive, and they would choose an area not because somebody else is making more money in that area or space. It's just your personal interest in that space, right? Like you said, there are a lot of edtechs in the market, right? So only the passion and the drive um, to run an ed tech is still there, so that there is a confidence to stay longer in this game, right? So that's important. So passion is undoubtedly number one. Number two is, please be open to learn and feedbacks, right? We made a lot of mistakes when we started this company in 2022, right? The idea that I thought, and when I got funding for this startup, right? The initial idea that we pitched, and the framework that I had in mind, is doesn't even exist right now, as though even the models don't exist right now, which means that it's quick to change and adapt to what is required. The reality is very different on the ground. What we see or hear from other edtechs are not the reality. When you really go to the market, you go see for yourself. So any entrepreneur should be open to immediately switch and realign yourself and see what's the best for your business, what's the best for the interest of your business. And that quick learning is definitely required, and obviously building a very strong team, um, and and definitely you will have bad days. And how quick do you really see why you started in the first place? If you start looking at that, then I think that will keep you going, and success will definitely follow.
Entrepreneurship is a term which is loosely thrown around today. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, like I said before. Um, what is the age that a person should get into entrepreneurship? Everybody says you have to wait for the experience, you have to wait for this, wait for that. Is that true?
Well, I think when you're ready here and here, I think you're all set to start. Age is just a number. We have seen throughout in the history of entrepreneurship, we have seen people who have started in their college and school days. They've started coding in school days, and in college something clicked, and people participated in certain hackathons, and they've become a product companies. It's worked for a lot of people. And likewise, we also see people like the KFC founder who started at 65. So age is just a number. As long as you have the drive and you want to do something, and do it passionately, I think there's no age as such. It's just what you think that you want to do, and you just follow your heart and keep doing it every day, every single day.
Before we close the conversation, I just want to know a little bit about what was that transition really like from getting a hefty pay package at the end of the month or the ding in your account, and the space and the time before you really started seeing money in HyperLaunch. How was the transition for you personally? Because I think this will resonate with a lot of people who are there today.
Oh, definitely. It is a very difficult decision to take, because um, there is a thought process when everybody wants to quit their regular paying job into entrepreneurship. Is what will change, right? What will change? My commitments will change. There are a lot of other. The ecosystem will definitely get into a little bit of imbalance in when you try to align yourself as an entrepreneur, right? I think and at that point in time, your family and friends try to give you a backup. I think for me, I was fortunate enough to have my family. My wife is a very important pillar of strength in terms of helping me to continue pursue my dream, right? And she took it as her dream as well. And I think that's very important for anybody who wants to really take that risk. Somebody has to have, you should have a backup for yourself. And for me, that was my family, and my wife was a backup in terms of helping me pursue my dream. And I think that's why I'm here.
Thanks, Arun. I enjoyed this conversation. I don't know about you. Did you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It was fantastic, and I think it went through an entire journey of when I started in what we did, and
And
I
I
hope
really hope more people are watching this episode, and they are able to maybe gain the benefits of HyperLaunch someday.
absolutely, absolutely looking forward, and we are here to stay. We are here to work with a lot of students, and we're trying to reach more to tier two, tier three cities and underprivileged colleges and students, and giving them the exposure that a tier one college students have is the ultimate goal in the longer run for HyperLaunch, and we'll continue to do that.
Thank you.